Thank you, Mr. Fabrice Lena, former Secretary General of the Popular Action Party. You are also a renowned politician, a renowned youth leader, and also leader of the Our Future political movement. Thanks for welcoming my media prime to your residence.
Thank you very much, my friend and a super scale journalist, Mr. Paul Abine. I'm glad to receive you at my place, even though in the very sad circumstance, the circumstance where my political mentor, someone who inspired me to look to the direction of politics in Cameroon, have transcended to the world beyond, has gone to join our ancestors, and going on the 25th of December on a Christmas day, the day of nativity. So our hearts are heavy. My heart is heavy. I didn't expect this. Just like I wrote on my social media handles, I didn't really expect that Pa will leave us at this time.
So how did you meet Ayah Paul Abine when he was still alive?
Yes, I was inspired by Justice Ayah as far back as 2008. I was still a student at GBHS Bamenda, Tamulung. As a student, we were observing the issues that were ongoing in the country at that time about modification of the constitution to remove presidential term limit, and how he was one of the parliamentarians, CPDM parliamentarian at that time, who refused that he cannot vote such a bill that will take Cameroon back to the period of one-party system. So this is where I got attention, and the name Ayah Paul became a very serious name spoken by newspapers, journalists, the media, TV, and Guardian Post newspaper wrote a lot about him within this this time period. So around 2012, I participated in observing elections, and at that time there was a candidate that represented his party in my subdivision, Santa. We had Ate Thompson, and then we also had Mr. Casper. You know, those were representative of his party, PAP, in Bamenda at that time, Mezam, precisely. So through my observations of the activities, I got more inspired. When I left Bamenda to University of Yaoundé Toussoua, I was following at that time Facebook was already on the internet, and I had to write on his Facebook account to tell him how I admire his work, how I have been following him for a very long time. And he directed me to President Jean Denis. He asked me that, where do I stay? I told him I stay in Soa University area. And then he said the closest representative of PAP is President Jean Denis, who at that time was the president of PAP Yaoundé 5 subdivision. So I went to President Jean. I told him about my interest in joining the PAP, and that's how I became a member of the PAP. And that's how I started attending meetings of PAP, and by 2015 I met Pa physically, and that time Pa was Advocate General at Supreme Court. That was my first time of meeting him at his residence in Tam Tam. So we visited him severally, and subsequently he came to install us. At that time I was the Secretary General of PAP Yaoundé 5 subdivision. So he came and installed us, and my mentorship journey started with him that very instant, because we exchanged contacts, and I could now communicate directly with Pa on phone calls, on WhatsApp messages, and go to his house at Tam Tam when he was still in Yaoundé. And when he left Yaoundé after the Anglophone crisis to Boya, we have always been very, very close. Indeed, he always mentor me, send messages of encouragement, And just recently, I lastly met him this year in the month of March, when I took Barrister Tamfo Richard to his residence for us to see what we could do concerning his pension case that he decried with the interview he had with Babila Jonathan of Equinox TV, just the start of this 2024 that is ending. So it has been a journey of inspiration, of mentorship, of father-son, political father, political son, a spiritual father. He had guided me, guided my leadership journey, my political journey, with certain core values. We are talking about integrity, ability to dare, to be courageous, to be bold, to speak the truth. Even if you are one person standing, you should speak the truth to power, standing for justice, for the downtrodden. Because throughout my engagements with the Ayah family, I have also participated in the Ayah Foundation. We've done humanitarian field works, traveled to the whole of the 13 divisions of Northwest and Southwest, and even to neighboring Nigeria in the peak of the crisis. And you know, I got to understand that Pa is someone full of empathy, compassion. You know, he feels a lot for others and think that conditions, social conditions, situations could be better for everyone. And that's why he runs the St. Valentine Orphanage in Boya and so many other charity activities which are even unrecorded. Personally, my leadership journey increased exponentially by his words. You know, stay consistent, stay focused, remain resilient, keep your perspective. But he also tells us that in leadership, the style of every leader is unique. So in as much as we are copying his good examples, we should know that everyone has his or her own style in the leadership journey. And the mistakes of the past in the political period where he was at the limelight should be corrected by us as we are about getting to the limelight. All the memories I have of Pa is that of a man who wanted a just community, a just society, a changed nation, a better country for every Cameroonian to enjoy the fullness of life.
Fabrice Lena, when you look at the life of the late Ayah Paul Abine, what are some of the unique things you see in him as a person and as a politician that are rare to find among other politicians in Cameroon today?
Pa is the true meaning of the word integrity. Pa's integrity has no, it does not have
any rival,
any compromise point. Pa is a man of integrity, a man of honor, a man whose head is always high when it comes to talking about justice. These are things that are not commonly found in nowadays politicians. He's a learned, wise, courageous man with a lot of integrity. I mean, the word integrity in capital letters underlined, because I have seen someone that could make for himself all the fortunes in this world, growing through the ranks and through two main arms of government, judiciary and executive, even passing through legislative, because Pa has been a parliamentarian, Pa has been at the Supreme Court, and Pa has been a presidential candidate. So someone passing through these ranks in leadership and politics could grasp for himself a lot of fortunes, but this is not the case with Pa Ayah. Material things, material wealth are not his preoccupation. All he wanted is that Cameroon is better, Cameroon is reformed, truth prevails, and that there is no compromise for truth. So there are many people who will cover the truth if the situation benefits their personal interests. This is not the case with late Justice Ayah Paul Abine, someone whose quest for honesty, truth, and integrity is limitless.
Fabrice Lena, when you look at the last days or the last years of Justice Ayah Paul Abine, we know that his accounts were blocked, so he could not have access to his retirement benefits. What is your reading of this kind of behavior where the accounts of someone who served the nation to that extent is blocked for motives which we cannot understand?
Those in power have achieved what they wanted to achieve. I would say those in power should be celebrated now that Justice Ayah Paul is no more, because it's pure wickedness. No other word can explain better the treatment given to Justice Ayah Paul, someone who served his country earnestly in different ranks, whose retirement was anticipated and precipitated because he told those in power that you are not managing the country rightly, because he said we should sit on the round table and define the basis of living together, because he said we must go back to the history that was thwarted and rewrite it rightly, because he said he could be a better manager of Cameroonians and Cameroon's resources. This is not the kind of society that human beings, rational human beings, should live in. The treatment given to Pa Ayah is nothing short of wickedness by those in power. Well, I think that death is the root for every human being, irrespective of the number of years you spend on earth. But I think Pa has bowed out honorably as an honorable man. And those who block his accounts and those who made him not to benefit from his own contributions that he's supposed to earn in his retirement age should do what they wanted to do. That's all we can tell them. But we also want to remind them that Cameroon will remain. We all shall pass on.
Fabrice Lena, while I read through the declaration of Professor Maurice Kamto, who is one of Cameroon's top opposition leader, he was talking about this situation of, he paid tribute to Justice Ayah Paul Abine, and in his statement, he said, Justice Ayah Paul, by this inhuman means, the authorities whom he had served left him to wither away under the gaze of his fellow magistrates and an English-speaking elite that was as cruel to him as it was subservient to the authorities. Meaning that he was highlighting that an English-speaking elite was cruel to him in the course of his struggles. What do you have to say about this?
Everyone can observe that we are in an environment, a society and a country where when you distinguish yourself to speak truth to power, you become enemy to the elites that serve no other purpose than their personal interests. So these are the kind of elites we have. But what will this kind of elites do? What will these kind of elites bring forth, which is different from what we see on a daily basis? The way they manage the country shows their intentions. I mentioned earlier that these people don't mean well for anyone who means well for Cameroon. So I concur with him, and I will go further to say that it's a disappointment from the elites of Northwest and Southwest who watch Pa Ayah die out without helping when he cried out. And it was this 2024, the early months of 2024, when Pa granted the interview with Babila Jonathan, saying that his money has been blocked, and even calling out to the President of the Republic that just like him, they share the name Paul, and if at all he has empathy for what they call in French Mbombo, the namesake, he should do something about his money. Neither the President of the Republic, nor the Prime Minister, nor the elites of Northwest and Southwest, or even people of his core, the judiciary, did anything about this. I took it upon myself to pass house when Barrister Thankful Richard showed up to say, we cannot let this situation like this, let's do something. We went to pass house, we talked with Pa, we could do what we could do. We are out of institutions, we do not have the pen to take the final decisions. We attended a couple of court sessions and tried to follow up the situation of Pa's pension. Well, Pa is not here today to see the end of it. We could only do what we could do because we are out of institutions. But like I said, those who hold the pens are simply wicked.
Fabrice Lena, we have condolence messages that are coming in from politicians who watched Pa, and even some government officials are sending in condolence messages about the passing on to glory of Pa. Are these messages genuine?
You know, people will wait for the death of someone before they start sending messages and putting a lot of hypocritical words into those messages. How many of those people visited Pa when he was on wheelchair since 2022? How many of them? Yes, these are questions that you journalists should ask them. How many of them, even the president of the political party you highlighted, did he go to visit Pa? He's also a member of the judiciary corps. Did he visit Pa? We should, in this country, there are a lot of hypocrisy, and these are things I don't share. I don't share those school of thoughts of people who wait until someone is not alive to come and make messages of how the person is loved, was a great person. Celebrate people while they are alive. Pa was crying. The last interview Pa granted was a wailing interview, a wailing message that he sent out to members of the public. Everyone could listen to what Pa said on that interview. How many of those people went to Boya to see Pa there and to ask the situation of Pa, to make a contribution? Sometimes it's not even only about the finance, but it's just the fact of going there to go and see the person and say that, well, I sympathize with your situation. I am glad, my conscience is clear as a mentee of Pa, that towards the last days, I did what I could do. I was in Pa's house with Barrister Thankful to see what we could do about the pension situation. We wrote it on social media, it's out there. People can check it, you know. But all these messages coming left and right now. So sometimes death comes to make us reflect on the true intention of people who want to lead a different strata of the society, and to see actions that they do accompanying this. Pa's death, Mr. Bo, is similar to that of another mentor I had, late Penda Ikoka Christian, who is also a statesman that was mentoring a lot of young people. And towards his last days, I was very close to him as well. We did not see people who came to sympathize with him when he was being harassed left and right on media, even when he was sick. But guess what? When he was dead, we saw all kinds of messages from everyone. But let's try to safeguard our statesmen who are still alive. I feel there is a vacuum now, especially in the English-speaking regions of this country. There is a vacuum. Ni John Fundi is gone. Pa is gone. To whom shall we refer our issues again as younger generation to tap from their experience and wisdom? There is vacuum. So for those who are still alive and they are elderly statesmen, we should and we have the responsibility, you know, to protect them, to keep them, to love them, to show them earnestness, those who are still alive. Because we've lost Cardinal, we've lost Senator Semenge, we've lost Nijo Frundi, we've lost Justice Ayah just now. You know, so for those who are still remaining, we have the right to protect them.
Before we leave you, Fabrice Lena, what can we do for Justice Ayah's legacy to live on?
On my side, I think I'm already doing something which I'm planning to unveil it at the right time, because I have watched how people, leaders who mentor young people, die with their legacy, and I don't want to be part of those kind of generation or young people who do not do anything when their mentors die. So I will do something at my own level, at the level of our future, at the level of the young people that Pa mentored, and by correspondence I mentored. We will do something about Pa's legacy. Pa had wonderful thoughts, wonderful philosophy, ideas and ideologies, doctrines that could shape Cameroon and Africa for good. I'm talking about the political perspective. Perhaps I will not be a very good person to do something of Pa's legacy as far as family life is concerned. Of course, his family is in a better place to do that. As far as Pa's judicial life is concerned, I think I'm not a lawyer. But when Pa's political trajectory is concerned, I have a lot to say, I have a lot to protect, I have a lot to project. So in this perspective, I call on anyone who is interested for us to preserve the ideas of Pa in the perspective of political ideology. We should come together and see what we can do at our own level.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.